76ers trying to figure out what to do with Ben Simmons. Simmons took a lot of the blame for Philly's second-round playoff exit at the hands of the Atlanta Hawks. According to The Athletic, the Sixers are looking to trade Simmons and would like to get an all-star caliber player in return. Here to help us with that, Monica McNutt. How we doing? I like the orange lady, looking beautiful. But now I need your analysis.
Oh, Monica.
Tell me this. Can the Sixers get an all-star for Ben Simmons?
So straight up, Molly, I'm not going to get hung up on all-star. Oh, was it me or Max?
No, go ahead.
It's you.
All right, I'm not going to get hung up on all-star. I'm going to go with the whole phrase, guys. All-star caliber, right? And so I think that, to me, that indicates maybe some fringe guys who, depending on who you talk to, maybe you talk to their local media coverage, they easily should have been all-stars. They put up numbers. But I also think that the unique part of this is going to be the position. And so someone that comes to mind for me is actually a guy like C.J. McCollum, who last year maybe didn't have his best signature year, but still is in the prime of his career, can shoot the three, can move back to that natural point guard position, and would give you a little bit of chutzpah on the defensive side of the ball. I just think this Philadelphia 76ers squad is so close, and while Ben Simmons' debacle in the playoffs was so glaring, we would all be doing a disservice to this unit to put it all on him. And so, yes, Ben has room to grow and things he needs to address in his game, but let's not act like he's a guy that's been on two-way deals over the course of his contract.
I think it is fair to put it mostly on Simmons and Doc. Doc was going to rotations 10 deep, playing all bench units, and Simmons couldn't hit a shot. It was like psychotic. He had like an episode. And it's been a problem in his development. Now we're hearing he's not working hard enough on his game and all that. Monica, I think you got the right team. I think you got the wrong player. And by the way, I trust Daryl Morey to make the right kind of deal, right? Like, he'll find value. But let me tell you why I think you got the wrong player. I think we're all too hung up on what you can get for Simmons. Like, find equal weight on the other side. What if you expanded the deal? If I were to say, or which team you think says no, I'll say Simmons, I'll say Thibault, I'll give you a player who maybe has some offensive upside like Maxey and draft picks, but I want Damian Lillard. Because how is Portland going to get better right now? How are they? They are stuck where they are. If I sent you Thibault and Simmons, now you can defend and slow down those high-powered offenses in the Western Conference. Meantime, you're actually buying low on Simmons. There's upside there. You also still have shooting. You look at, and by the way, like someone like Anthony Simons, right? Like, we'll see. But McCollum, you still got him. Powell, you still got him. Covington, you still got shooting. You have defense. You can play five out with Simmons as your point guard, right? The way they did it in Milwaukee with Giannis, except Simmons has better handles, better court vision, and is a better passer. Just can't shoot at all. Meantime, the Sixers get a superstar to pair with Embiid, who in the playoffs could actually maybe help deliver them a championship. Who says no to that deal?
Max, it's enticing, but I actually think there's a world in which Portland says no to that deal. If they give you Dame right now, that sets them all the way back. Are the pieces that you mentioned, do they have futures in the league? 100%. But right now, I mean, if Portland believes that their best opportunity to contend is to keep Dame in place, they can't. I just don't see Portland being able to do that right now. To me, if you lose Dame, you lose the head of the snake easily. There's no question about that in terms of what Portland does. And all those pieces you mentioned, Portland says no. Portland says no, Max.
Maybe, but I don't know that that's the right move for them. You're probably right because Damian Lillard means so much for them. But when you say you have to go back to the beginning of what? They ain't doing anything. Portland ain't doing anything now. They're not advancing in the playoffs, really. They're not making deep runs. We don't expect them to make deep runs. They don't have enough. They don't have cap room. They're not a location free agents are pounding down the door to be at, right? There are better teams in the conference that are only going to get better. But what I'm saying is you get Ben Simmons now, who has superstar. He does everything except for shoot the ball. You still have plenty of shooting. And Thibault, in terms of the piece, like Maxey is a piece who would have to develop draft picks, yes. But Thibault's already one of the best defenders in the NBA. Monica, already, he's only going to get better.
I got you. It definitely would set Portland back. Now, on the flip side, in terms of what it could do for the Sixers, yes, that is super juicy. That puts them in the upper echelon. I mean, they already were this year in terms of where they finished in the Eastern Conference. And I agree. Dame is a guy that puts them over the top. Have we seen the last of Dame and his loyalty? Portland can't do it. I think if you can make it work with C.J. McCollum, he moves back to his natural one position. That's sort of it is.
But
a little
I'm
bit
saying
more
no to
even
that
in my mind.
I'm saying saying no to that if I'm the Sixers. C.J. McCollum, a small guard who can shoot and play.
But what are you
I'm saying no to that.
Where else are you going if you're the Sixers? If that's your option, you're saying no because you believe you can get better? I think that's a piece that, to me, doesn't ruffle too many feathers. You put him in your big three with Harris and Embiid. He's going to play his role. He's going to hit shots. He'll defend. To me, it's just a clean
Monica,
switch.
it's not a big three. That's not a big three. Harris is in no big three. He's not a part of, and neither is McCollum. But McCollum maybe is the third piece in a big three if there's a big drop-off between 2 and 3, and I like McCollum. But let's be honest. The Sixers are knocking at the door. They're the ones who you have to ask, how much do you want to change things? Portland is stuck. If I'm Portland and I could get defensively way better overnight, and also, I don't know, when you say it sets them back, I think Portland in the deal I'm suggesting, Portland actually is better next year than they are this year. Better next year than they are already, and in the future going to be significantly better. And in the meantime, Philadelphia, Lillard has a chance to win a championship while he's still a great player. Monica, it works. If it doesn't work.
For Philly, it's great, Max. I'll give it to you. For Philly, it's fantastic. But for Portland, how did you get better? You got to talk to me on how you got better. Because you buy into these young guys and now we're going to play super-duper team basketball under our new coach? Because you no longer have a guy, to me.
Well, I don't know. You were just selling me on McCollum. So you have Simmons and McCollum, right? Is that 2 of a big three? You still have Powell. You still have Covington. You're talking about Portland now. You have Anthony Simons, you have Maxey for the future. Thibault, you have one of the best defensive players in the league. You match up defensively now with those high-powered, high-octane Western Conference offensive units, and you also still have some offensive firepower.
Listen, that team would play good defense. That would be a defensive unit for sure. I'm not sold on the firepower piece because I think Dame is that important in terms of setting everybody else up. Covington, Powell, all those guys, tremendous double-digit year career NBA guys in terms of being role players. But who's the head of the snake? If I get CJ to Philly, he doesn't have to be the head of the snake because it's very clear to me that Joel Embiid is the guy.